Hello. Alright. They don't normally give you enough time to say all the things I need to say, so this might be like a couple of different things. One of the things is about that I believe the whole thing with transgender and that you can't be transgender and be non-binary and all the other stuff. I at one point did think that, but I have a recollection about how that it can work in a scientific thought is because how the term is stated nowadays. It literally means transgender is to transition from one to the other. Technically, you are. Okay, now people who are transsexual, which would be referring to most people who want to have the surgery, who have the dysphoria of being a gender that they were kind of at birth on, and trying to transition from that to the one they feel that they are. Transgender is more of the spectral idea of it, where transsexual is the more physical form of that being into play. If you plan on having the surgery, or that you aren't because you're afraid, then you are therefore more likely transsexual. The whole thing about pronouns and how I feel with them. Most of the pronouns I would normally use: he, she, they, them, and any mix of those. I'm sorry, but if you use anything beyond those, the only thing I will normally use is if I know you is your name. I won't use any form of pronoun. I will only use a person's name then if they want me to use the whole z, them, zer routine. I'm sorry, the English language is too difficult as it is. And if anything, the most thing I would most likely use is they and them. Alright, the next thing I'm going to state is the 75 plus gender thing. I'm sorry, no, I don't believe in it. How I see on this situation is you can either be non-binary, gender fluid, androgynous, or you're transitioning from male to female or female to male, or you're cis. Sorry, there's no way you're going to help change me on that factor. Now, the trans stuff. My opinion of what age should people be on it. Truthfully, how I understand it, for young kids, blockers would be fine. Truthfully, estrogen or testosterone should not be introduced, at least until you start in high school. I'm sorry, but that is how I feel about the situation on it. The age to transition and have the surgery, at least 17 or 18. Something that little bit irks me when people say they're pansexual is when they claim pansexual when more likely that they might most likely be bi or possibly poly instead. Because if you're pansexual, a person who's pan doesn't care regardless of your gender at all, which means also they're the type who would date someone who is trans. When you claim pansexuality, you're literally saying that you are also open to dating people who are trans. If you are not open to dating people who are trans, do not claim being pansexual. Subject about poly. Some polys will depending upon them, would possibly date someone who's trans. But mostly how polys are, and the reason I'm saying this is I have a best friend who is poly, and most polys would date anyone if they are trans is that they have transitioned already, which means if they're a poly and they prefer, if they're a guy and they prefer another guy, they prefer a trans guy over a trans girl. And if they, vice versa, if they prefer women, they prefer someone who has already transitioned to a woman. Alright, here we go. If you see this is a pentagram. Alright, 5-pointed star. This is a pentacle. This, well, don't get confused. This is not devil worship or Satanism. This is an inverted, which is to represent banishing. This, if you see this upside down without a circle, that's devil worship.